Hey there, everybody. Welcome into week 4 of RGL's Invite Sixes. Gonna have a solid game today, I think. A good way for Dorsia, the newer team, to see how they fare against the top of the division, unless you consider Froyo the top and everyone else below them. But I am Kresnik. With me is Jarrett, same duo as last night. And Jarrett, I don't know how anything could top what we got to watch on Process yesterday.
That process is quite the treat. I'm hoping that today can bring something just as fruitful. We have slightly different change of pace. We're going to be playing Koth instead of 5CP. It's always nice to see. Might be, some fast gameplay and minimize stalemates, the like. So that's always good news.
And I definitely have to ask you, before we go over the rosters or anything like that, Jarrett, I have to know about this map. I've personally, I've only played Clearcut in, I think, one game of Prolander right when it came out. So just curious how you feel Clearcut has kind of been adopted into the high-level sixes community.
I think Clearcut is one of the first maps that was pretty well liked, at least by Koth standards, in a long time. A lot of the other Koth maps that people tried to push in, so Viaduct wasn't all by itself, weren't really, a permanent solution to the issue of Viaduct being the only one, but people seem to like Clearcut enough to where, and it's been in for multiple seasons now, and it'll probably stay for multiple seasons as well, so, I think the thing that's extra nice is it doesn't necessarily play exactly the same way that people are used to when it comes to Koth maps and sixes, because when you think of Koth maps and sixes, you pretty much, like I said, you think Viaduct, you think the crazy sniper sight lines. This map doesn't really have too many. You think of the forward hold that can happen on Viaduct. This one you can kind of play forward, but it's much harder to lock down. So the gameplay is a little bit different, and that's always a nice change of pace when it comes to talking about a game mode that is pretty much a niche thing. It's been called an upset map or sniper heaven or whatever, but now you finally get to see Koth in a different way.
What different way do we expect to see? You said we're not going to see snipers playing on those deep sight lines. We're not going to see these forward holds all the way in because you could just get surrounded so easily. What do you expect to see being brought out on Clearcut today?
I think soldiers can have a little more leeway with being able to have some sort of successful bomb compared to Koth maps in the past. Like, obviously, it can be difficult at times because the scout class is very strong, but I think the towers on the map and the very high skybox that Clearcut gives you allows you as a soldier to have slightly a better chance of being able to be successful with your bomb, or even if you're not bombing a target, to maybe just go behind and instead. So I think that aspect is a little bit of an easier time for soldiers to not feel like that they're just, playing the scout map and going 15 and 30 while their team wins for them. So
I mean, it adds to some map variety, right? You play Koth, you're thinking, all right, well, Scout's going to take all the beam. Maybe we'll just have our roamer play Sniper or something, but actually able to really utilize what makes TF2 and Soldier in particular fun, right? That hyper mobility, being able to draw eyes to you in the skybox and kind of open things up. I don't want to talk too much about Dorsia. Everyone who's watching here could have seen the game yesterday, and if you haven't, you should check it out on YouTube on the RGL channel there. But Ascent, I'm sure we've talked about it. Other casters have about their roster in the past, but I mean, these are all names I recognize. Jarrett, out of them, who do you think will show up here on this map today? Is it going to be the soldiers because of the map, or are High Five and Slemnish just going to go on a tear against Ash and Yomps after they've kind of swapped their roles as scouts?
I think the players to watch on Ascent for this map are definitely going to be probably Zaylor and Slemnish.
Okay.
They're both, all the players on Ascent are pretty talented, but I feel like when it comes to, a player really pulling out all the stops and not necessarily showboating, but definitely like, kind of carrying their team in moments where it wasn't necessarily the thing that needed to happen. I think those are the players that definitely like have moments where they can pop off really hard on a Koth map. And like I said, because it's a Koth map, it's going to make it even easier for them to do so.
You mentioned soldiers and scouts, but I am curious about how Demo fares on the map. You mentioned Zaylor as a player to watch, but just looking at how the map is set up and kind of angled, I feel like Demo should be successful. There's high ground you have to play on. He can play kind of far back on the low. Is it a map that you would think kind of lends itself to that, or are the scouts still just going to be able to push across and tear them apart?
I think Demo's just as important as ever, because not only is it Koth, but the geometry of Clearcut in particular with the box right in the middle of the point, it makes it very difficult as a scout player compared to Koth map like Viaduct to be able to get across the point and coordinate with maybe your soldiers that are going in without taking some damage in return. So I would say the performance of demos being able to prevent people from running across the point, as well as being in the perfect position to spam people off the roof, which is also a very important part of the map to be able to control, is definitely going to play a large part into a team's success. So that definitely puts even more of a, make sure the camera's on Zaylor, because not only is he a really talented player, but he's going to have a really important role for this map.
And this is more for my sake, so I know what to expect going in, but I think it's something to discuss about the map, because I feel like clear cut, at least in the games I've watched recently, is still not something that we really get to in the map vetoes once we get to that point. But when a team is re-pushing, you said there's really no forward holds. Where's the common kind of place to set up? Is it on this right side behind the shed to have that extra cover, or do teams like to set up behind the tower just to give their teams that deep high bomb potential?
Well, there are moments where you'll see a team stand on the opposing team's bats, or maybe somewhere near their slope area to get some initial spam. But like I said before, it's with there being this many doors to get out of spawn, and even still, like, a lot of these doors are much bigger than the comparison being Viaduct. It's hard to have like a permanent home here to lock people out. So usually,
Of course,
forward holds consist of going forward as far as you can with the resources you have, dealing some spam and slowly backing up. So you can start a little bit forward if you have the luxury of being on their half of the map, like that deep into their house area. And then after you get a little bit of spam, you can back up, maybe just have some soldiers like on their opposing roof, and you can have a scout like on their box or tower and a demo there as well, and you can get some extra spam as they're coming up the slope or dropping off their bats or going through the house or something like that. So much more forgiving when it comes to forward holds, but the difference between this map and Viaduct being there's not necessarily any high ground for a pushing team to utilize. They kind of just have their bats. Otherwise, it's a very difficult uphill battle against a bunch of spam that you're gonna have to deal with. So that's not necessarily the most amazing thing for the offensive team, and I think that's just gonna add extra stress to the mid fights in particular, just to make sure that you're able to win the mid, get your team position where you want to, and start the spam more. Because if a team is able to execute a really good plan where they're able to get forward as much as they want to and whittle down the other team's health before they're able to actually achieve what they want to and go in and try to get frags, then it'll lead you with a really good advantage at the start of almost every fight. Like I said, as long as you can execute it properly. So
are most teams even willing to scrim this map? I mean, I know the community, and sometimes when new maps come in, it's just banned every week. People are like, we're never gonna play it. Let's just let's play our process. Let's play our snake water. Are teams actually willing to scrim clear cut and bagel a little bit, or do you think we might see these players maybe a little bit more uncomfortable coming into this?
I think the map's been around long enough to where people are okay playing it. When a new map, especially a call-off map, is first introduced, you really, as a team, you want to play to your strengths, and your strengths are definitely the maps that you've been playing on for years and years. So when you come to a clean slate and everyone's at an even playing field, if willingly voting for this map is kind of like throwing an inherent advantage away over newer players or less experienced teams. So in the very beginning, it's very normal for a new map coming into the rotation and teams being like, let's not gamble with this yet. This could be an upset map that could make us lose to a team that we would normally never lose to. But as time goes on, map's out for a year or so and been in the league several times, people are more accustomed to it. Maybe they played it into the pugs. Maybe they've seen other people watch it. Maybe they've decided to, let's just scrim it in the off season just to see if we're good at it. And people are more comfortable with it now, and it's not necessarily as new anymore. So I think if anyone wasn't okay with this map being played, they would have banned it. Each team had 3 separate bans, and none of them overlapped. So I think it's safe to say that most, if not all, of the players are okay with the map being clear cut.
Hey, maybe one team just wanted to take that 50-50 gamble, right? They're just like, there's no way Ascent's gonna pick clear cut, right? But wait, just one last second, you gave it up and weren't sure. And you mentioning the pug thing too, I was gonna say, eventually, someone's gonna just ban all the fun maps in pugs, or you think are fun maps, and you're like, all right, well, guess we're playing clear cut today. I did discuss with you right before we started. Neither of these teams were doing a pre-game scrim. Do you think that that plays towards either of them? Are either of these teams going to play better cold, or do you think they both got unlucky? We might just see a messy first round of TF2.
I think if both teams aren't warmed up, then they're more likely to be at an even playing field, and it's more likely that a team that would normally be the underdog be able to achieve more than they normally would in the very beginning. So I would say probably because Dorsia is still trying to figure stuff out. It's probably a good thing for them that even I'm sure teams are going to want to scrim, but if neither team is able to play at their absolute peak, that's probably in favor of the team that is much newer.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, how long has this Ascent core been together, Jarrett? I mean, we know Dorsia is new, even though it's kind of bits and pieces of other teams, but how long has this Ascent core been playing as a unit to have that experience?
Well, Ascent as a sponsor they took a little break from TF2. It weren't necessarily in the scene for a couple seasons, but I would say that most of the players on Ascent are at least comfortable enough to be playing with each other. A lot of them have experience over the past couple of years playing on different versions of Ascent, or even different versions of other playoff teams where they were trying to, work their way up into the grand finals area of invite. So I would say that even though, this team as a whole is new, a lot of the players are not strangers to each other. So I feel like they'll be able to figure out how they want to play really quickly when it comes to, starting out this season.
Yeah, especially if they even had a chance to watch the game yesterday, maybe they'll figure out some things about Dorsia they can take to the bank, figure out how they want to counteract. Just to let everyone know why we've been waiting a little while here, about 15 minutes after the initial start time. I was given a glimmer of hope, sent readied up, and then just but moments later, the entire team left. So not sure why they're toying with my emotions like that, but I think we do have a new STV that we'll be connecting to now. Hopefully, that means we can get started soon. Do you know why the match was moved up a little bit?
They might have just had some bad RNG with scheduling scrims. Both of them couldn't find any. So, I mean, if both teams aren't scrimming and they both recognize that, you might as well start playing the match early, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Definitely better to get it out of the way more than anything. And I mentioned this before, and I do want to bring it back up because I don't think we really got to elaborate on it. But the Ashe Yomps swap. I mean, yes, they're both still playing Scout, but now we have Ashe playing off the beam and Yomps playing a little bit closer. Do you know if there's any particular reason why they'd want to do that change after yesterday? Other than a loss, of course. Let's put that under the table. Like, other than that, any specific reason?
It might affect calls or the change of pace that the team would want to play. It might not actually make an effect too much into this match because it is Koth and the pace is always relatively fast. But for the future, like in general on other 5CP maps, it might definitely make a difference in terms of how the pushes are going and, like I said, the pace at which everyone plays.
And I was fairly impressed with, at least in the first half, how Ashe was playing on the beam, but maybe Yomps was just feeling it earlier. He's like, bro, I'll take it. You do whatever you want. Just let me be healed. Do you think it might lend itself to some more off-classing, potentially? If Ashe is the one playing off, he can maybe swap some other classes that could give them an edge, even though you think that Sniper not as potent on this map as he is on others?
That's true. I mean, whoever's on combo usually doesn't off-class too much. There are exceptions in team dynamics, but for the most part, it's usually the flank players, so that probably also does play a factor.
Yeah, and definitely hope we can see something creative, something different. It really, everything I see today is going to be fresh to me because I've seen Clearcut scrimmed before. I think actually the most full game of Clearcut I watched was I was watching Bolameo stream a POV of a scrim on it. That was so clearly whatever I see is going to be different for me on these POVs, and looks like teams are readying up and unreadying immediately. Again, continuing to play with my emotions here, but they did ready up both times. We should be ready to get going soon. Jarrett, is there anything in particular that I really didn't cover that you might want to go into before we get this started?
Marmaloo has 50 ping. It's over. He's killing everyone in the server.
Okay, excellent. Does he normally have higher than that? I mean, that's something I wasn't really up to date with.
Arizona life, 80 ping life, no. but right now he's sitting at a fine 56. I think he's ready to game.
And definitely for a map that's going to be good for soldiers, that's good to have. Marmaloo in the skybox spamming down. Going to be connecting all of those once he lands in. Dorsia did ready up. Hopefully we do get started soon. I think we did start in time, so it shouldn't be too much longer. God, this map, it is really interesting to me with how, I guess, it has that higher point, but it just feels so flat when you're playing it. More than anything, right? You know, having that... It's, oh, by the way, it's a double header. That's why they have that 10:30, and hopefully for their sake, it's fast either way so they can actually get into this next game. We are starting. Both of men are rolling out. Yite maybe a little bit slower, going a longer way than Zayler is on the other side. He's made it to the mid, trading blows across the points, and High Five setting up on the right roof with Slumnish as well. No real aggressive play yet. Yep, looks like Zilly actually very far behind, but just pulling people back as Slumnish is going to trade with him. And Laz doing the same, but not sending anyone back to deal with him just yet. High Five in too with Yite, but Zilly and Yomps clean up too. Marmaloo in the back, 56 ping, it works. Slumnish and Logeye both down, and Dorsia off of a quick bomb early. One person turns around and they just play off that advantage.
The classic, oh, both soldiers are going behind? Okay, we'll just go forward. As soon as both soldiers go in the air, Blue recognize that. They see that, oh, well, where they're going to land all the way back there? Let's not be there. They just run across the point, immediately kill Zayler, and take this point.
Ascent's going to be able to bully back in, though. Everyone on Dorsia had to go back to pick up Cookie Jake, so gonna get some cap time here, potentially even getting it. Marmaloo going all the way in the back. Both soldiers go back again. Could this be another push from Dorsia? They follow up on right away. Not fast enough with Laz finding Marmaloo back on the bat. Zilly just straight up replacing him immediately, but this is a 4v6 if Ascent walk in, and they know it. Laz going in, hits the rocket, Cookie Jake, he lives with like 5 HP. Backing up in the right area, 30 seconds of cap time saved up for them. He's getting all that regen, though, from the weak players. Ascent backing up now. Dorsia not getting that kill is going to backfire for them, but they do find Zilly. Marmaloo in real deep here in the back, but only one rocket, has to reload, can't get the next. Ascent trading out. Dorsia with their heals are still going to be able to recap. One scout on the right side. Ash doesn't see bot mode here, but bot mode beef still. He walks on his sticky, and Ascent recaps, and even though Dorsia just a hair away from capturing it, Ascent holds strong.
And with both scouts going down for the blue team, that's going to have them go all the way back. You know, Red could even maybe decide to go forward a little bit if they wanted to see if they could early force off the scout picks, but it doesn't look like they're going to go that route. And Blue's going to be able to get their scouts up and get ready for this Uber exchange coming up the slope.
I think they want to play it safe, right? The cap point was so close to getting capped, they don't want to let them just kind of weasel in on the side and get it behind them. They're just going to play the stalemate game and force Dorsia to commit their soldiers into the back line. Laz going actually into the shed of Dorsia, potentially pulling people around, but Zilly just going aggressive instead. Marmaloo's also in the back line. They force Logeye's Uber. Both were actually being traded, but Ascent, the better end of this, killing both soldiers. Actually looks like evensies on both sides. 4 versus 4, but High Five maybe a little bit too forward. They're not going back to deal with Marmaloo just yet, but Slumnish stops him from jumping out. He's stuck in the shed side, still getting traded. 3 versus 3 with respawners coming in. As Yite's rolling back out, Dorsia might be able to recap this unless Ascent are willing to commit, losing some heals to make it work. Slumnish not willing to do it. Yite and Ash kind of bully them out, and Ascent might have to disengage, but they have people back. No one's behind them. They could send Laz in with this crit buff and run straight through them if Dorsia wants to send the soldiers behind again. Finally, slowly pushing, bullying out with their heals as both soldiers go in. High Five kind of beefs his jump, but makes it to the bats still. It's the backline dueling with Marmaloo, but that ping, it's working out here. He trades into High Five, and Zilly just kind of throwing himself in. Doesn't find the medic, but Yomps is cleaning up on all that damage.
Yeah, Red kind of put themselves in the low ground as their combo, and that kind of left the rest of their team over on the right side being able to be picked off. And there was only 2 left, and the medic's actually going to go down from a nice bomb from Marmaloo, and even though he's going to get traded off, he'll definitely take that trade. So not only has Red lost the fight, but they're going to have to now be in a situation where they're going to have to try to go for some sort of sack wave to bomb and force Cookie Jake.
Just soars in and keeps themselves with full ad, and I feel like you have to cross a lot of distance. It's still possible to get those forces because, like you said, those high bombs can work fantastically, but I feel like you can still have so much in the way, and you can just back your medic up into a choke point. Cookie Jake actually hiding in shed. Looks like making it harder, but as soon as they find that out, Laz or High Five can just land in the choke behind him and trap him in. No one wants to force. They're just going to try to use the cap time to force the Uber potentially. So Marmaloo goes down a little bit forward on the ramps on the side. Finally, Dorsia aggressive. They have the Uber. If they can catch Logeye, this could work, but Cookie Jake moves into the shed on the Ascent side. No one actually wants to move in to force him, and they just walk at them, and the threat of the Uber is enough to keep Dorsia holding strong.
And now, enough time has passed that Red is actually going to be able to get their Uber very soon. They're kind of getting a little bit close, but they should be getting in a couple seconds here, so it's not the biggest deal. They have their 1 roamer rolling out, so they're not going to be able to go for any behind play, but now that they have Uber, it's all up to whoever's taking the initiative here.
And it looks like it might be Dorsia. They're already walking in, but they had 2 people set up on the right with Laz skipping off of the roof to go fight Zilly, but Zilly's a mile away. Laz down to, looks like 24 HP in the back, but they're just spending the Uber chasing him. I'm not sure if that's the best thing, but they lost one person. They had to trade one frag at least, and Yumps does find it. Now he's 1v5 on the point. Ascent not willing to chase it right away. They do manage to get the cap time off of that, so the Uber trades in their favor. They spend first, so they're going to have their next Uber ready also.
Yep, yeah, kind of get left out to dry, and that's going to immediately kill their attempt at a refight, but good news is they got some fast respawn times, and they already have soldiers bombing in trying to make space as the blue team is starting to peek the point here. Both soldiers are trying to work their way to try to distract people, but so far, oh, red is actually sending people behind as both. Now the red soldiers are going back in, and right onto the RGLgg medic in the shed, and he's actually going to be dying. That just leaves three people alive.
Yeah, Laz finding that at the end with everyone getting distracted in the back. Onto Marmalou, I thought maybe that would be rough for them, but they ended up making it work, holding the point here. Still close though, 36 seconds to 24 and counting right now. Dorsia have to push into a full Uber disadvantage. They have to move quickly. They have to force this Uber when there's at least more than 8 seconds left, or just have enough people to clean up. Yite is so far behind on this too. Silly trying to force the Uber early. Logeye pops immediately, and why not? Your advantage is huge. As Marm is alone in the back as well, sending bot mode back. Center taking this player and Uber advantage push, walking straight across, and Ash is going to have to run into the point, but there's sticks on the point. He goes down to Zayler. Yite follows, and Ascent take the first round on clear cut.
Yeah, not much what you can do when you really got to get on the point for cap time, but you also got to go for a force. It's conflicting ideas, and that's going to screw them over and make Dorsia lose the first round, but we'll see what they can do on this mid here. Maybe they can get another good first cap going.
I feel like right now it's so much pressure on the scouts and demos, right? Because the soldiers are just going behind, and then it's like, how much can your scouts and demos do with that distraction, right? As Zilly and Marmalou both go high five in the back line, more or less. Just high five, actually contesting them. Bot mode up top will stop Zilly. Logeye just runs into the shed, but Yite, he walks across point, he lands the pipe, and even with that advantage, they're still losing all the players. Yite's going to go down. RGLgg already 8 miles away back in the spawn. 51% Uber advantage right now with only a second left for Logeye's respawn timer. That's all Dorsia really have to show for that. Small Uber advantage, well, big Uber advantage, but they have to give up a little bit of cap time to still build that, even with that Basher building from Yumps. Rolling out Ascent, not really fully back yet. Finally, Logeye does make it back from the respawn, just in time for an even fight. High five still on this rollout. See how they decide to take this exactly. They had a good, actually, Yite does a great job clearing the right roof, so that would be a good time to send a soldier in, but Ascent rebomb, high five up to it to retake that space. Bot mode gets very aggressive. Might kill Marmalou first, and they just have to push off this, and high five wants to with Laz going in as well. They force the Uber on RGLgg. They just can't afford to bleed more players.
Yeah, really nice move from bot mode, trying to pick off an isolated player over on the right side. And he tried that last time, but his team didn't help him. This time, he definitely gets the support he needs to be able to force the blue Uber. And even though 3 people died, it's totally fine as long as their medic stays alive. So now they're going to have Ad trying to probably push off the slope here, as it looks like moving towards the right side to be able to retake the point here.
Yeah, I like how they're kind of clearing all the areas. Marm potentially could have hid behind, but they send people up to bats, find him, push him away. And Ascent now have a decent chance to make this a good Uber. Zilly goes a little bit too early. Logeye, 150 health Uber. They need to make something happen with this. They need to find more kills. RGLgg a mile away already, 51%. Really telegraphed from them. I think they could have milked that a little bit harder. Maybe even not had to use. Logeye didn't take any damage, and Zilly was halfway back on the roof.
Marmalou's stuck behind right now. They have people trying to draw and go back for him, and he's buying some time. Will eventually go down. The unfortunate thing, though, is because Marmalou's already dead, blue can't use that distraction anymore, so now they're just trying to go in one person down. Sure, they have Uber, but they don't have quite yet, and they have an opening on their flank they're going to have to try to deal with. Oh, they do get a really nice shot on bot mode, and that's a nice saving grace, so that will probably make it a slightly bit easier to go in. They're going to bot mode, he's trying to go for the medic, but the red medic surfs away, and it's only a soldier left in the air that's probably going to be taken down here as he's in the shed, and he does go down. One person behind him, Laz, going for the health pack. He has 2 people chasing him, and it seems like with red no longer being a threat, they're just going to go back and kill him. So, successful retake, no medic kill, but I'm sure they're going to be okay with the cap time that they're going to be getting here.
Oh yeah, straight up. I mean, I don't care if it's a bad push. If I hit a shot like that, I'm going to jump again and go in. Zilly just absolutely deletes bot mode from the game, and after that, I think Zayler wasn't I guess it didn't seem like he was expecting that repush. He was sitting just in the open and let all of Dorsia just swarm him. He was just staring forward. Another early Uber from Ascent, and Dorsia all disengaged, but this deep bomb from High Five might find a kill. No, they were ready for it. They all shot the ground, juggled them. Marmalou is still distracting in the back to not really let them follow up on that, and they give up the cap time, but all that does is screw High Five's spawn. Dorsia, 6 players strong, can walk in with this. Zilly and Marm already both jumping towards the bats. Marm all the way in deep onto Logeye. No one's helping him, but he surfs around on the rock, and Marm too low to refight this. Logeye in the middle of his team, but low, a huge long-distance pipe from Yite finds Zayler as well, and they're still trading even frags here. Dorsia managed to recap the point. Zilly in a great position here, but both scouts and the soldier going to jump up, take him down. Dorsia getting very aggressive with both their scouts. They have the Uber, they can go in. They have to kill Logeye though. They want to maintain this Uber advantage, but he's already real far away. Yom's going so deep, but he can't go into the spawn, and he might even die for this.
Is barely scraping away 15 HP. He is going to get shit down because both scouts are chasing him, and it's just 2 people left for blue team as the rest of the soldiers are trying to roll out here. So red's going to get a little bit of cap time, and they're going to have Uber ad. So with a scout down and a bunch of people rolling out, this is going to be a free point. So now blue's going to have to try to figure out how they want to approach forcing the red Uber.
It's a lot of time too. They either have to walk into a huge Uber disad or give up like another 20 seconds. Double soldier bomb's going to be the way of choice, and Ascent super forward. They send it in, but again, RGLgg is already all the way back to his spawn. Going real deep is Zayler to try to make it work, but RGLgg already hiding in the back. Does give his position away with the arrow, but it just doesn't really matter unless they can get aggressive enough with RGLgg and them. Marmalou and Ash are actually still in the back line, but Zayler, he didn't know they were there. They walk into the blender with Ash back there getting just a distraction with Marmalou and Dorsia. They recap perfect positioning at the very end there. That flank was just exquisite from them.
Yeah, red was under the assumption that the medic was going to be close when they Ubered in and tried to chase the blue medic halfway across the map. They left all these people behind that created the perfect distraction to be able to clean up the entirety of the red team. So now it's completely flip-flopped. Now blue is in control. You know, they have their medic in the shed, full Uber. Now we have to see how red's going to approach. They are bombing in, trying to clear Zilly off the roof. It does seem like Laz is going to get taken down. We have a red demo flying through the air, and he's also going to die. And it seems like RGLgg's going to be okay, you know, just sitting in the shed and letting his team kill everyone. And that's going to be still full Uber ad and a bunch of time tick down on the clock. Because at least for red, they're going to have their own Uber now to be able to approach the point as soon as they get their spawners. Going to probably keep trying to approach the slope side, as that seems to be the favorable position that team's been pushing up. Watch his traps, Lemners finds it, and it looks like we're gonna have an Uber exchange here. Really early on for the blue team, they're trying to go in straight to the red medic. He doesn't quite have, he's able to get and pop off, but blue barely doesn't have any Uber yet. Yite's trying to jump away, but he's gonna really hurt in the air. He's actually gonna, oh, he barely doesn't crater, oh no, he does. Slum just goes and chases him. RGLgg dies in the post fight, and it seems like the giant fight going underneath the shed. Red and blue players dropping non-stop, and there's only 2v2, and it seems like Marmalou coming in at the last second is gonna be able to hold blue point. It's just high 5. He's inside the shed. I don't know if there's a whole lot he can do here if he's just solo, trying to go for some air shots on Yance. He hits the direct, but even though he gets that kill, I'm not so sure it's going to quite be enough. We have Laz going in, try to go for a solo play, but Marmalou lives on 11 HP, and
Jarrett.
Ash just cleans him up.
Ash is on a 14K. He is annihilating. He put the team on his back there. In that, even at the beginning fight with that flank, he just did everything they needed to, and that's the kind of play Dorsia need if they want to beat Ascent, a team that only took an L so far to Froyo at the top. See if they keep up that aggression. Dorsia so deep in the back line. They send a soldier. Zilly following up on Logeye, but jumps right into the shed. Rockets miss. Laz lands on Yite. They can send the scouts across. The arrow doesn't matter in the end as Ash finally, his dominance is ended there on the point and protecting Logeye. Perfect. RGLgg does get away, but he's not building, and advantage is in Ascent's favor.
Yeah, the blue double bomb from the mid-fight didn't seem to be very fruitful, and they weren't able to get the kills they wanted, so that's going to lead to the red team being able to hold on to this point. And even though Cookie doesn't die, he has to still build a little bit of his Uber, but it shouldn't be a big deal. He just got to build the last bit of it out, and they should be able to take an Uber exchange here soon.
Yeah, they're pushing in on the right side. It looks like Soldier jumps across. They're just keeping a distraction, trying to draw fire. They knew that wasn't the right play, and Zayler's doing a great job of keeping that roof controlled as High Five is kind of establishing that positioning up top. Finally, they send a soldier to trade with him, but not necessary just yet. Zilly actually eats a direct and has to leave the fight, and Ascent could play off of that. They saw him jump away. They know he's low. They know they're chipping RGLgg. This could be a 6v5 that they want, but just not willing to do it right now. They send a soldier deep into the back line and go past High Five, and again, they could be moving. They could take this number advantage fight, but they just send a sack in onto Yite. Laz lives. They find another. No Uber spent yet. A pipe from Zayler connects onto Ash, and Dorsia, they have to leave. They don't want to spend this Uber now.
They had Uber all that time, and they just tried to corner cap, but look how much time has been dropped down on the clock because of them deciding not to do anything. They have their Uber, sure, that's their saving grace, but that's definitely not what you want to see. You have 2 kills to work off of. They'll be there for the post-Uber, so you definitely want to make sure that when you approach this next, that you're going to play it flawlessly and abuse the fact that not everyone's here, but Zayler gets a trap immediately on Zilly and Yite. So that's going to immediately end the push. We have Laz bombing in, see if he can get the early first on Cookie, and they are. And it seems like there's only going to be 2 deaths, and they should be okay with that as long as Oh, Yomps is trying to go in. Doesn't able to get anything, and with Marmalou, Marmalou not only goes in and dies right next to Yomps, but we have CookieJgg dying as well from a bomb. So
Yeah,
not
that
only
was...
does the force not work, now your heals are completely reset, and you have to start building all over again.
You know, I was about to chew out Log for go as forward as he went there, but beef. That's what happened when they tried to chase him down, and CookieJgg wanted that force a little bit too much, and now huge advantage on the side of Ascent. High bomb from Zilly. Second soldier comes in, does use then, and that's definitely not the worst. They can maintain this for quite a while. Not a single second of cap time available for Dorsia right now. Laz is also going even deeper into the back to stagger out Yite spawns. They don't hold the point, so it's going to be a little bit faster, but Ascent, actually, I like this. They're moving forward. They're going to go for this forward hold to buy even more time. Make this Uber advantage repush from Dorsia just a little bit harder. How do you feel about this forward hold?
Definitely great to try to get some early spam on the blue team. If you can successfully make them pop their Uber at this part of the map and then back up in time, that's going to be great for your refight, because you're not going to be in a position where you're so far back you can't defend anything. You know, dropping 2 people is going to be good here. Laz is getting a little bit low, but he's able to escape. And Yomps is going to go a little bit too far. You have Marmalou going in really deep, and Asher to follow up. See if they get a Log kill. He's 6 HP. Is Marmalou going to be able to get the rocket off? He is, even though he's in the sky and probably going to crater and die. They are able to get the kill, but there's only 2 people alive. With the health they have, you know, Red, if they get shot at all, this is pretty much over. But Yite is getting manhandled right now by Slem. Slem takes a little bit of damage, but he seems to be running behind as Blue is going back towards the point. And they're going to be trying to push off the fact that 3 people on Red are still dead.
Yeah, and they managed to bully back. I thought maybe Ascent could have been able to hold that, but cap time decay is just a little bit too slow. Uber disadvantage right now, but a full 3 minutes to work off of. Still going to be tough to repush into both scouts sitting on their own roof. Maybe rotate, take a different path. They can get caught out on that rotation. Aggression on the right flank right now from Dorsia. Ash cleans up 2. Air shot onto high 5. Completely stalls his momentum. Marmalou, great shot from him to stop that high 5. Trying to fight 3 players, but actually the rest, they back up. They abandon Ash. Give Ascent that pick, and their respawns, they might be able to refight this. Bot mode coming back from spawn still. They're taking a lot of damage in that choke point. The soldiers kind of getting juggled and handled a little bit, but right now, Ascent, both scouts on the far right, they take their roof back. Zilly tries to retake it, but the team, I feel like they're just so split right now. Finally, Laz goes in, but no one's ready to follow up. Yite coming in super late. High 5 following up, but CookieJgg's already a mile away, and that bomb gets nothing.
Yeah, that one surf off of Laz's rock is going to send him so far away that the rest of the team sacking in isn't going to be able to do anything off of the damage that was done, especially if he just lands and takes the pack. So Red's just gonna have to deal with an even Uber exchange here, and let's see if we'll be able to take it out this time.
They send in the soldiers aggressively enough. It could work. We've seen it happen before. Wow. Right in, Marmalou catches bot mode sitting up top, and Ash again, they're just not ready for this. They leave 1 player alone, and they're gonna have a terrible Uber now. Unless they can make them flash enough. It's happening a little bit, but they just clean up high 5, and Ascent just need to group up a little bit closer. Marmalou flies in right into the middle of the team, into 3, and catches Log-Eye.
That's not what you want to see, because now it's not even, now it's disad. So now there's going to be a moment in the fight where you're going to have to be worrying about getting ran at while you're at 80%. Not only that, but it's going to stifle your push, because you have to wait a couple more seconds for your medic to respawn for this dry push that's about to happen right now. Their only saving grace is Marmalou is dead, 1 less spamming class. They are able to get to the shed a little bit. Laz dies immediately. They get some good damage on Zilly, but they're not able to barely clean it up. If he can take an arrow, then he should be fine. High 5's trying to spam, and he's still missing the arrow, and Zilly's gonna die. It's gonna be even 5v5 fight.
Oh my god, it's right back and forth. Both scouts on the point. Slemnish ADing without getting healed. Looks like Marmalou's getting real aggressive into the back. Log-Eye, big surf away, but everyone turns, and the scouts just tear them to pieces. Campy, Zayler really low. On the far left does get a bow, but Dorsia have great positioning right now. Small Uber ad on their side as well. They can actually take it in if they're fast enough, if they're counting this, but looks like they just have too many people there for them to want to take that. Too many bodies in the way of Log-Eye. The Uber exchange here to decide who's going to have the advantage. In the final fight, CookieJgg takes a little bit of spam early, but they're just sitting on the roofs, and damage is way more on the side of Ascent. Uber gets forced out a little bit later from them, but Yomps going in with the flashed Uber, cleaning up the low health target. All he has to do is live, but they're so clumped. Both soldiers jump in. They're not shooting the same targets. Marmalou's getting hovered by the scouts. They just can't find anything. Ascent cleaning up both. Zilly does get campy on the backside, but Ascent have a strong point position, and it's all on Yite. There's no way he's going to do that. Ascent just snatch it away from them. 0-0 for the second round of the half.
That was almost the dream for Dorsia.
So close.
That went into overtime, and they were to hold that for like 2+ minutes there, and they were almost able to take that round too, but just a small misplay on focus firing and playing that post fight there, is gonna lead to Ascent taking the round.
I mean, both soldiers bomb in. You think it's gonna be huge, right? They had a great follow up. They had a number advantage at the start, and then they both just shoot a different buffed scout, and they just die. They traded a kill there on the other side, but everyone on Dorsia just bled until it was only Yite and Cookie Jake left. It was just too tough for them to recover from it. Someone just needed to call a target on the bomb. They didn't have it in time.
Yeah, it seems like we have some logs in here posted in Humble. I'm pulling them up right now. Let's look at the side of Ascent first, because they're currently in the lead. And look at the top players. We have Zaylor and Slumness, just like I said. They're definitely playing very high impact right now, and doing a lot for their team. Almost 400 DPM, very close to breaking it. But
he's putting on a clinic.
Yeah, and with a really nice KD too, so he's definitely doing his part and staying alive and make sure he's alive for moments where Dorsia's trying to push in here. And on the side of Dorsia, the round they got, it seems like it's a total scout domination, which is typical for Koth maps. But like you said, at one point, Ash, he had a 14k or something like that. He's sitting at a nice 26 and 11. In Yomps, doing something similar, 25 and 12, DPM pretty respectable. So it seems like, pretty even match so far, because even the scores 1-2 in favor that last round could have really gone either way. So this is ended up being a very, very close match so far.
I mean, Dorsia almost got a 3-minute comeback on a team that has only dropped anything to Froyo so far. So I think that goes to show that this team, they just need time, right? We saw them perform great yesterday against my anime list. Maybe not so much in the second half, but they still did well. And putting up a great showing against Ascent right now. And I think they were picking apart what was making Ascent weak. I feel like having those people split on the rollout as they were going out, Jarrett, they weren't having the heals, right? Is that what they were abusing? Just no one getting crit heals on that flank and Dorsia just bullying him out with better health?
I don't know if the reason why it worked out so well is because those players weren't healed as best as they could, but they were definitely abusing the fact that, if you have the flank going on the left side of the map and the combo going on the right side of the map, or vice versa, that's a very small, isolated pool of players to be able to kill. So they're definitely making the assumption of when the push is coming in and what side of the map that's going to be on, and you just immediately shove your flank, hopefully with better heals on the opposite side to get some picks, and it's working out really well. It's worked at least twice so far. The question is what adaptation is going to come out of that? Are they going to try to do some fake pushes to maybe stifle that? Are they going to make their buff rotations better? There's a couple different ways they can go about it. But at that point, it's just up to preference of the team.
Is the map too wide to do a fake like that? Because I felt like it happened to Ascent like 3 times in a row. They never really adapted. The only reason they won that fight off of an even brawl back and forth that they didn't have a chance to have that aggressive play, right? It was Uber v Uber. They went in with the scouts instead and really didn't give Marmalou and Ash a chance to find those flank picks. You think Dorsia maybe could have just played their game still, let Ascent take that Uber in and go aggressive into the back?
There is potential for disengage, but there is also potential for you to just trust that your flank will be able to kill their flank and things like that. So, like I said before, I think it comes down to team preference. Obviously, if you're doing something a couple rounds in a row and it's not working, you might try to do the opposite. But we'll just have to wait and see how they want to approach getting flanked right now.
One thing I will say for sure is I think we can both agree that the scout role swap for Dorsia is doing wonders right now. I think Ash is playing great on the side, and Yomps is doing 350 DPM on the beam. You can't ask for more.
Yep. On Koth, usually it doesn't amount to too much, but the little that it is right now is definitely, being good to them because, like I said, even though it's 2-1, it could have very easily been 1-2.
Yeah, for sure. And it was definitely on the back of those scouts in that round. What's the biggest adjustment do you expect from Ascent? Because I say Ascent specifically because I felt like Dorsia were in control a lot of that round that they were able to do. What do you expect Ascent to adjust into this to kind of stall this Marmalou Ash aggression?
I think it's mostly going to be on their execution of when they're trying to go up against an Uber when they don't have one themselves. It seems like there was a little bit of desync in their sacks, and like we said before, getting flanked, preventing anyone from actually getting a plan going on. So they're gonna have to address getting flanked, and they're also going to have to address the timing and the execution of when people are actually going in to try to get these forces. Because so far, you know, we saw in the last round, you try to go in time and time again, and it's not really working out. And a couple times you have your medic die in turn, as well as not getting the force, which is also very not ideal. So.
Do you think, one last thing I want to ask before, because I think we have gone live in real time, so we'll be going live soon. Do you think there's merit to how early all guys using these Ubers, or is it just hoping that there's not 2 soldiers coming in because it's so easy for them to cross that gap?
I think him using the Uber early is making the assumption from what the players you see, the medic must be close, and that's good for your team when you can just go and kill them. But RGLgg is actually not playing close, so I think the idea is fine. But now that he knows that RGLgg is actually playing really far back, that it's no longer probably the best play to be running right now to just do blind Ubers and hope the medic's close, because he's not going to be.
Yeah, and that seemed like a misstep both teams were making, kind of back and forth, right? I mean, we had, what was the first round? Just medics leaving a full wiped team. Otherwise, don't expect to see that here, as they've kind of learned a little bit going into the second half of Dorsia versus Ascent. Ascent leading 2-1 here. Check these rollouts. Has Jarrett figured it out? Looks like he did ask, but Zayler just a little bit faster. Sticking him off early, kind of helping him stack that already pretty stacked DPM. Marmalou very deep at the start as Zilly catches out Laz, but everyone's ready, everyone's looking. They move forward now, they could potentially take a 5v4 push, but they kill Marm as well. They can re-heal, and Dorsia, they have to give this up. They can't hold this 4v6.
A miscoordination of the soldier bomb is going to lead to a lost man, and Jarrett's getting caught out because of the low mobility of the Demo Man class, so it's going to be a little bit of time that Blue's going to have to wait before they're able to get this Uber exchange off. Jarrett is up now. Both teams are at 85. They're just going to get the last little bit and getting ready to start peeking the point.
Yeah, RGLgg managing to save the Uber will help significantly, but their health actually, Jarrett's kind of low in the back. He needs to get a pack or get bowed, or else he really can't fight. High bomb from Marm, but he just ends up landing on his own roof as both scouts are taking the beam on the far side. Laz coming in, forces it early. Lawguy Yumps does run across and get it, but they have a better Uber potentially. They're still soloing it, but Laz is alone in the back. Dorsia might be able to disengage and kill him, but their health is awful. Everyone's low across the board, and Ascent realizes that. They have Zayler push across, find Zilly, find Yumps. Jarrett walking out the wrong door, but somehow living with barely any HP left. Slemnish not going to let that happen. Marmalou and RGLgg still leaving. Slem smells blood, but can't follow up. And Ascent, strong fight from them. They got everyone low on Dorsia, didn't follow up. But as soon as they tried to recommit without re-healing, they just took advantage of that.
Yeah, Ascent's doing a really good job of playing reactive to the blue Ubers and making sure they can get people behind it. That even though Jarrett died kind of later, he was getting really, really low, and that put heals on him instead of some of the other people that might have wanted buffs.
Yeah, it was definitely tough for them to refight, I think, with that low HP right now. Double soldier bomb, but look at this disconnect. Laz went left, high five landed right on them, and be able to catch Laz on the way out, but just barely makes that over his own roof. Dorsia taking this number advantage, but losing Marmalou in the back will hurt, and the help, again, still low bomb mode. Perfect timing for the arrow from Lawguy. Keeps him alive, losing Zilly. They're not capping. Dorsia are about to get it, but all they've done is make their spawns longer, make Ascent better, and Durba gets forced on point. Jarrett's super low. Has to get flashed, but he just stands in front of the scout. Bot mode takes him down. RGLgg might be a little bit too deep with bot mode body blocking him. Following up, he finds it. Just Ash left. He follows him, and only 20 to 25 seconds capped for Dorsia. Ascent, it looked like they might move forward for a forward hold. Yeah, they're walking some soldiers forward, but disconnect, play your heals, and get ready for Dorsia's repush.
Dorsia really needs to figure out how they're going to, not necessarily keep him alive, but just make him safe and healthy while they're doing these exchanges. Ascent is taking a really good job of taking the initiative, like I said before, during these exchanges and making sure that all the flank classes are having a rough time, as Yance is going to go down, and that's going to make the dry push here way more difficult. That's actually probably going to maybe even buy time for Red's Uber if their spam is good enough. Marmal's going to try to bomb in, not able to find anything fruitful. But Zilly, he's able to get Lawguy.
He follows
Red
up
medic down.
Yeah, they were just staring at the wrong person. Zilly just flies straight in. Low-flying bomber catches him out. Dorsia are going to be able to play off that advantage, 60% for them, but Ascent can just chip him away as they walk in, make up as much damage as they possibly can. Dorsia, they're taking a lot of... looks like they're getting chipped a little bit early. Marm and Yomps getting knocked down a little bit, but Ascent's health is worse. Lawguy is back now, finally ready to top them off. Zilly rotating back into the shed side. Laz is actually, looks like he's ready for a bomb onto RGLgg. RGLgg doesn't see him coming, but the scouts do delete it before he can hit the ground. Zayler tries to make it work, sinks 2 stickies and takes him down. Uber advantage kind of out of the table for them now, and just a 1v1 between Zayler and Yomps. Doesn't connect the pipes, but he's still alive. They just can't kill him. They're so distracted. Zilly dies on a roller. They finally take him down after a 6K, but Ascent, it's going to help them lock down the point.
What a play. That's definitely going to absolutely secure this round here. Because even though Blue's able to maybe get a little bit of cap time, there's not going to be red stickies. They have so far gone from having any reinforcements here that play from Zayler is going to definitely, like I said before, secure the round.
Yeah, they adjust it, I would say. I think they're playing a lot better into what Dorsia are trying to do. But I think it's also part of the soldiers for both teams are kind of out of sync when they want to go back in. It's just that Ascent won the first fight because of that initial desync, and they weren't able to retake it later because of that, other than capping at one bad time. Laz sitting so passive to stop Zilly, but Zilly's just taking him around. Dorsia could get so aggressive here, but they're just taking a lot of chip damage with Marmalou following up. Sinks rockets onto Logeye and takes him down, but everyone else is getting bled out. Shield advantage on the side of Dorsia, so all the damage is going to stick. High Five maybe rushing a little bit too much. Needed bot mode with them, but the rest of Ascent is rushing across. They're beefing on Yite, though. He's stuck in the corner. He's not taking any damage, getting bowed. Slenish turns around. Yumps could flip this with this pack potentially, but Laz comes back from chasing the medic. Takes him down in Ascent. I want to say they won it, but Marmalou is coming back. It's going to be some MGE on clear cut mid. Trading blows back and forth. Whose medic's going to be back faster? Looks like he doesn't want to take that fight. Laz disengages with Marmalou still holding. Both soldiers going to be back. Maybe mid-fight round 2 with Ascent having a small cap advantage, but neither soldier has crit heals. Ash completely denies that. Zilly doing another deep bomb. Are they going to send people back? They are. Bomb mode goes back. To send another back. Zilly gets the trade. It's High Five drew some eyes as well. Yom's going very deep to kill High Five right now. Gets it and basically takes no damage. Slemish pretty forward. They need to find Marmalou up top, but they trade out Yom's. Marm's getting rushed by both scouts and Ascent. Finally, even though Cookie Jake are gonna walk away, Ascent take the mid.
It's definitely a part to play, and that had to do with the staggered medic spawns. Because the red medic died so early, he gets to the fight back so much early, and red's health just starts out better on the fight.
And that's all you need, really. Get everyone crit buffed on the rollout. You're healthier first, you're going to be able to take advantage of that. A little bit of a trade happening on the left roof right now. Zayler having to focus other places. Maybe Laz can counterbomb as Zilly eats a direct. Has to surf it back. Health great on Ascent. Not even on both sides. Neither team wants to make a move, but it's kind of the ball's in Dorsia's court. They don't have cap time. They need to make something happen. They need to actually land on the same target. Marm and Zilly chips down a little bit, but they're both getting closer. Yomps goes down to a trap on point. Yite tries to make something happen, but so completely out of sight of Cookie Jake. He has to back up with Marmalou, and Laz might be able to chase this down, but Ash was just able to deny it. Was it really all in that trap, or did Ascent just bait them into it perfectly?
I'm having flashbacks to the previous round where it was even Ubers and Dorsia did not want to move forward and Uber for the life of them, so they just like dropped players, and now they're back at the same thing, but less time on the clock.
And the time on the clock's all that matters on King of the Hill. Just counting that down, getting it to 0 will win you the round. Huge stack on the red roof. All of Ascent sitting up there trying to deny, and no one taking that space on Dorsia's side. Zilly going into the back, but both scouts chasing him. Actually drawing 3 people. They could rush in right now, and Yomps is with another person. Marmalou diving behind. Spend the Uber right now onto Zayler. Much better potential Uber from Ascent right now as they kill the next person behind. Everyone disengaging, surfing a sticky back. Yite backing up the wrong direction again. They're gonna lose Laz for this as he tried to catch Cookie Jake on the repush, but bot mode
in,
hitting every single shot. Cookie Jake didn't leave fast enough. Everyone's so forward. Logeye might have overextended, but Zayler's hitting every single pipe. Zilly goes down, Ash goes down, and it's all on Marmalou to equalize the super advantage.
Yeah, he's gonna try to go in. He's getting a little bit of damage on Slumness, but Slumness is gonna get healed up. Marmalou's gonna back up the other side of the shed, and he's able to get away, 50 HP. And then Blue's gonna arrow him up, and Blue's probably gonna try to dry push now up the slope. One red scout still rolling out, so they have that little bit if they want to try to do a high bomb. Seems like Zilly's doing his patented jump and is going to go straight for the medic onto Logeye. He is going to go down from rocket from Marmalou. He's continuing to draw eyes, put damage on a high 5. But Blue's used so many resources here that they really need to make sure they stay alive here. That's another resource going down, and just 2 alive. Blue needs to leave. Direct's being eaten by Cookie Jake, and as his scout dies and he's all alone here, tries to go for, he can't even saw because he has Solemn Vow, and he's going to get rocketed down.
Yeah, Ascent just took them apart there. They knew they were going to try to stack the cap without their spawn, so rotating around the side, they send in High 5, who they weren't expecting to be back in, to just tear him to pieces. Marmalou right now, retaking that right side. Dorsia want to get cap. They have to, but they could wait for spawns. They have the cap time. It has to decay. And Uber is basically even right now, but Ascent want to get aggressive before that. Marmalou goes in, gets too low, but can't find any kills. Yomps finally following up. Deep pipe from Yite. Does connect it. Yomps rushing this right house to chase down Zayler. Ascent do disengage. A great sticky from Yite to catch out Zayler. Yomps wants to go a little bit deeper. Marm's also aggressive on the side, but not willing to go any further. High 5 tries to catch him out, but Dorsia disengages. See if they can Dorsia can play on their health. The Ubers are slightly in their favor. They just have to find a way to catch someone out. And this is smart from Ascent. They're not letting the flank go in. They're all waiting on that side. Dorsia, I think they were expecting that. They have 3 stacks on right, but they're not really getting anyone too low. From the spam rocket, they actually crits across the point. Zayler goes down. Slemish goes down. Dorsia kill 2 with the crits, but High 5 might catch Yite here late. Last coming in on the side, onto the medic. He surfs out. RGLgg living 100 HP. It's in their favor, but actually Logeye was far enough back to survive 75% on his Uber into crits. We know who has the advantage there with such a heavy advantage on the side of Ascent.
It's a very nice crit, but the caveat is what are you going to do when they have invulnerability? It's going to be happening in about 2 or 3 seconds here. The trap is getting cleared, and Red's going to have a clear pathway to be able to walk up as long as they're not able to take too much spam. We have Zilly kind of playing close to the house, but he's going to get shot in the back by Laz. That's 1 soldier down as the entirety of Red Team is going to pop through the shed, jump in. RGLgg is already out, is not going to be dying unless he stays around the bats too long. They are going to get Yite, though, and Ayant as well. And Cookie's kind of close to Zayler. Farmlu's definitely nowhere near him as he tries to go for a play on the point and is able to get it. But that's going to be the round.
And the game. Ascent, they take it 4-1. A really close first half, but Ascent's adaptation as it went on just completely turned it. I wanted to mention it during that last fight. I talked about how Marmalou and Ash running through the bat side really just kind of opened up everything that Ascent was trying to do on that push. Ascent, they had only Laz there. As soon as he saw Marmalou land, he just jumped away. And now there's 2 people just doing nothing in their backline while they send an Uber straight across into a medic that's only halfway to a crits. That's always going to go in Ascent's favor. And they really they abused that. I love that adaptation. Just leave that flank open. Maybe just show Laz so they get baited in and just crush straight across the point. Not even give him a chance.
Yeah, Ascent definitely played that exactly how you want to play it when, when you have Uber ad and you know that, they have crits, but, they still don't have it quite yet. They definitely made it so that, any salvage play that Dorsia tried to do was not going to work, and it really showed because they were able to get, even though they weren't able to immediately get a medic kill or anything like that, they got enough kills to be able to clear off the point, and because there was no time left, they're just able to sit right on it and take that one away.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Jarrett, I'm starting to think that first half Dorsia and second half Dorsia are completely different teams. Is that just a time thing, like figuring out how you want to adapt to things, or are they just ending the first half at a disadvantage and they just don't have the time because what they're doing just is not working moving into the second?
I think it's the opposing team using the half very well to adjust. Being in a team environment, it's possible, but it's hard to make adjustments in the middle of the round if you're not able to sit for 2 minutes and actually talk about a particular issue. You have to do it in stalemates and downtime with even extra hard on Koth because there's not really any stalemates. So, if you're in the lead, at the very beginning of the half, or you're doing well at the very beginning of the half, you have to mentally prepare, if the other team is going to be trying to change some things, you also have to predict those changes and have an idea of what you want to do in the middle of your game to start winning again. And it seems like the teams that Dorsia have been playing are doing a really good job of adjusting really well to what they see during the halftime. Dorsia doesn't really have an option to get back into the place they want to be.
I mean, Dorsia had basically 6 minutes of constant action to figure it out, right? Ascent more or less held the point the entire time in both of the rounds in the second half, so not really a lot of time to talk about it and figure out exactly what they want to do. The fragging potential on Dorsia is there, and I feel like RGLgg is living in a lot of situations where he shouldn't be. You see this individual skill. What to you is not clicking in these later things? I know we mentioned not being able to adapt, but it can't just be that.
I think Dorsia's coordination with their soldier bombs could probably be better, because it seems like the soldiers are bombing in and creating space, but it's either A, they're not necessarily focused on the same thing, B, the timing of when they're landing and actually fighting things is staggered, so it's not actually coordinated, or C, they're making a distraction, but the rest of the team isn't able to do anything at that moment to be able to go off the distraction. I saw a moment at the very end there, I guess not at the very, very end, but in the second half, where Zilly went behind, 3 people chased him, and even though there were only 3 people, defending the point itself, Dorsia still had to pop their Uber really early and not get the kills they wanted to be able to walk forward, which is very much not ideal. So there's a lot of execution issues, I think, with their coordination in general, which is mostly just coming down to playing longer.
Do you know who's calling for that team? Like who the most talkative players there on that roster would be?
Honestly, I mean, RGLgg probably talks a little bit, but he's on medic, so he's not the one that's actually doing the actions of like going forward at certain moments. So probably depends. With how much they've been changing the roster, I'm sure they might not be so sure themselves on who wants to be like a staple main caller or supporting caller or things of that nature, and maybe that's playing an effect to how their performance is kind of changing when they reach halftime of their games. So only time will tell, honestly.
And you mentioned the soldier sync bomb being one of the disconnect being one of the bigger problems you saw. What a map to have that problem on, right?
Definitely.
Clear cut. It's a map where the soldiers are basically in the skybox for 90% of the time, and I feel like, do you think if they had played Ascent on any other map, the game could have been closer? I mean, it was already as close as it was in the first half. Do you think they might have been able to carry that momentum forward if they were on a map that disconnect didn't matter as much?
Maybe if they were playing something like Metalworks or Gullywash or something like that, that could have been remedied in some capacity. But then again, playing Metalworks or Gullywash, maybe that opens up some other problems that they haven't dealt with quite yet. So there's probably always going to be something that a team in general is going to have to focus to try to remedy when it comes to their shortcomings. It's just about which one do you prefer to try to tackle. So I think that map probably wasn't the biggest factor, and it's more about them as a team and as individuals, because they were only just created. So
yeah, true. Alternatively, it could also be the thing I brought up before the game started, where maybe Dorsia are just a sick cold team, and as soon as Ascent warmed up, they were like, all right, this is how we play clear cut. We didn't have a chance to warm up and see, but Dorsia could just be the best no pregame scrim team we've seen. We'll have to see how that goes carrying on forward in the season. And now they're down 0-3. Only one of those losses was theirs. And I feel like that team has potential. I know I'm mostly talking about them, but I mean, Ascent, I think we talked a lot about during the game about what they were doing right, how well they were able to follow up on their own pressure, even if I think they struggled occasionally with the flank of Dorsia. Where do you think this team might end up, this newly formed roster, as the season goes on? 0-3 now, but I feel like it won't stay that way. At least the 0 in the win column won't stay that way for long.
Their potential is pretty high. I feel like their potential is very easily like sitting around third, but the question is will they reach that potential? They still have to make sure that they don't continue to lose to the teams that are trying to beat bubble playoffs. They probably still have to play the microwave and try to beat them, because I know they're trying to see if they can have their playoff dreams be alive. So there's definitely a whole lot to do and a whole lot of season left to go. So I would say their fate is mostly in their hands at this moment because of how early on it is.
How much they're willing to practice while everyone's stuck at home with not too much else to do, I would say. And playoff implications, I actually want to mention that I do love the format. How we get to see different maps all the time. I know that it's different in Invite than it is in all the other divisions, but I'm definitely happy to see the pick bans and that level of strategy being brought in. I know the other esport that I do, the one that is my job, Paladins, it's like best of fives with map bans and stuff like that. Always cool to see some unique stuff coming out in Clear Cut, specifically a map I really didn't get a chance to see at all, honestly, in a while. And being able to see it here, being able to see teams that I think kind of have it figured out was interesting. I do love the dynamic between product, between Clear Cut. And I'm curious about your opinion on Bagel. I haven't seen that map at all, honestly. Is that, what side of the Koth spectrum would you push that map onto?
Well, I think it's enough on the side of the Koth spectrum where it's good enough to be able to have a season played in it.
I don't mean like good Koth map to bad Koth map. I mean like Clear Cut to product in terms of how it gets played.
I'd probably say, because it's so wide and the width of it is a lot of indoors area, I think it definitely promotes a lot of aggressive gameplay, because if you try to sit back, there's always going to be some avenue for someone to try to go behind. And Clear Cut isn't necessarily different. At least with the difference with Clear Cut, it's very easy to see them because it's a soldier that's going across the skybox, and where they're landing.
Yeah.
But on Bagel, it's kind of like, it's a little bit indoors. It's a little bit more hidden. There's potential for scouts to go behind as well, which is a whole other thing to deal with. So
it's like Ram Jam, is what you're telling me.
A little bit, yeah. Not as wide, but
The amount of people in this chat who I'm not even sure if most people even know what Ram Jam is, but bad memories for some. Good for me, but probably pretty bad for some.
it's definitely a map.
I feel like
Map.
we're totally getting good cursed or blessed with really good games. I feel like maybe that's just going to happen to Dorsia throughout the season, but I feel like these teams, at least below Froyotech, it kind of seems like a toss-up as to what teams are going to be on top at the end of the season if they all keep improving at around the same rate.
Yeah, like I keep saying, I think it's mostly going to come down to, because the season is so early, it's going to kind of be just like, everyone's kind of have to wait a couple weeks, kind of see where things land, how other matchups go. People are going to get their second chances against other teams, and I think the most important thing to reiterate is every team's fate is in their own hands at this point still, so definitely hold on to that.
Yeah, definitely time to give your all, even though it's this early in the season. You want to make sure you're not going down so far that playoffs are impossible for them. It's been quite a while since we started. I'd say it's been a 45-minute game, even though it was a 4-1. Still, the rounds, at least at the start, were pretty close. Jarrett, thank you so much for joining me today. Other than Dolphin, because we always shout out Dolphin because he's the best. Anyone you want to call out today?
No, I think we're good to close, except like you said, Dolphin. But besides that, no, I think we're all set here.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure if you want, you could check out the game from yesterday if you haven't seen it, Mal versus Dorsia on YouTube. That was a really close one. Definitely hope you get a chance to watch it. I've been Kresnik. That's been Jarrett. It's been Dolphin behind the camera. And we'll see you next time.
Peace out.